Hi, and welcome to another G News update on a rainy old Sunday here in New Zealand on Sunday, the 27th of April 2025. Today, I'm just going to round up a couple of recent events and kind of do a bit of a breeze through. If you cast your mind back to the 5th of August 2022, the National Party went absolutely nutballs about the Inland Revenue Department data not being 100% when it came to Labor's cost of living payment that went out to millions. 1.5 million people got it correctly, but a small number of people who got the payment got it in error, and that was known, but it was the quickest and fastest and simplest way to get the money out into people's bank accounts, and it basically worked very, very well for 99% of New Zealanders. Wow, that's not the story that we heard from Nicola Willis or Chris Bishop, or any of their aligned partners in the media like the New Zealand Herald or News Talk ZB, who went ballistic for days on end. All they could talk about is what a shambles, what a schmozzle, what a terrible, terrible thing this was. And it was all Labor's fault. It wasn't Inland Revenue's fault. No matter how much anyone pointed at the fact that Inland Revenue had said that its data wasn't perfect. This was a massive attack that was made particularly by Nicola Willis on the Labour Party, and they took something that was basically successful and made it into an epic failure in the media. So there was a pile on, there was a dumping, and it was kind of the worst thing that had ever been implemented according to the National Party. Take a look at actually what Nicola Willis said back then. Here's a National Party statement from their page, and I quote, has today confirmed that its cost of living payment was so poorly designed it went to individuals who have died. National's finance spokesperson Nicola Willis says the cost of living payment debacle keeps getting worse and worse for Labour. Not only are London expats and French backpackers who haven't worked or lived in New Zealand for years receiving the payment, but now it has been revealed that dead people may have been paid out too. So as you can see, this was all about very bad design by the Labour Party. But hold on, when it comes to Family Boost and the poor design of that system, will Nicola Willis accept the blame that it's her party and it's not Inland Revenue's fault? Here's the headlines. Oh my, it's the minister admits that IRD got it wrong, not her. Oh, what a surprise. And the government overestimated the flagship policy. Minister blames officials. Oh, what a surprise. It's somebody else's fault when it's Nicola's turn. And it's pretty much the same. Inland Revenue in both cases hadn't got something right. And here's Nicola Willis on one hand blaming Labour, but when it's her turn, oh, it's somebody else's fault. So we're getting pretty used to this as a country now, and you see that behavior all the time. It's not my fault. I can never make a mistake. I can never admit a mistake. It's somebody else. And she gets very triggered about these things. But it gets worse. Vernon Small wrote in the Sunday Star Times this morning that it's important that she gets it right, if only to keep faith with voters who were sold a tax cut package that had considerably glossier headline numbers. Who can forget Christopher Luxon going on and on and on about $250 a fortnight, $250 a fortnight, roll up, get your tax cut, get your $250 a fortnight, got two kids, $250 a fortnight. Believe in me, I know economics, not like Labour. We know economics. We know the economics better than anybody. We are the economic managers. We know the economy. We know everything. Trust us. We know what we're doing. But what happened?
We're sorry. The number you have reached is not in service. Please check the number or try your call again. This is a recording.
So take a look at this snippet here. We estimate this payment will assist an additional 130,000 households with young children, the pre-election pamphlet boasted. So that was wrong. And once IRD advice came into play after the election, the expected number then fell to 100,000. So these guys were advertising during the election without even IRD advice. This was the National Party getting its numbers wrong consistently on multiple occasions, in multiple issues, by the way. This is even more obvious when you actually look at the way that the chief executive, Kathy Wolf of ECE, said that ECE had always known that Nicola Willis had got this wrong.
Kathy, I'm just wondering while I've got you if I can ask you about the data in the Herald this morning that revealed the government's estimate of the number of families eligible for the full family boost payment was wrong. Just, 249 out of the 21,000 the government said were eligible have actually received that maximum amount. The real number of families eligible is unknown. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, we always said that the family boost was flawed. It doesn't reach the families that it should reach, and also there's a few hoops the families have to jump through to even get access to that, and they only get access it after they've paid 3 months, and then they get repaid for that. And many families don't have that money up front.
Something was going on here. Maybe Nicola Willis had a tin ear. Maybe she didn't want to listen. Maybe she thought she was right. Maybe she got really triggered when anybody said to her, look, you've got this wrong. We certainly see that in Parliament, where she just lashes out and kind of has a low EQ when it comes to being asked about these things by Barbara Edmonds from Labour. This is just a sad story where over and over again, Christopher Luxon and Nicola Willis promised everyone in New Zealand who had 2 kids and the average family under 180k would be getting this $250 a fortnight tax cut in total. But it was all lies. It was just complete crap, and it was absolutely wrong, and it's a clusterfuck, basically. Pardon my French. But this is what's really happened, and I think all national voters need to have a good look at it and say, look, I might have backed the wrong horse here. Voting for change does look pretty stupid now. It really hasn't given us any better outcomes, and everything promised is actually like a pile of crap that's falling apart. In other news, Cameron Slater has moved to Waiheke Island. Hi, Cam. Thanks for your note this morning. And if you are hobnobbing with fat cats and setting up the Waiheke branch of the Atlas Network, then be assured that we'll be reporting on your activities if there's anything dodgy going on. But otherwise, welcome to the island, and, keep your nose out of trouble, I guess. Malcolm Turnbull appeared on Q&A this morning, and he had a bit of a chat with Jack Tame about the situation when it came to Trump and the change in the rules-based order. One of the things Malcolm said was that we've lost a lot of trust recently in the way things are done with the United States administration, and it takes a long time to build up that trust. Another thing he said was that the AUKUS decision to buy into submarines with the United States was a very big mistake in his view. However, he did think that AUKUS 2 was still worthwhile doing. In other news on Q&A, it was revealed that of the 35 possible schools that have been funded over the next 4 years to become charter schools, only 8 have taken up that option, which was a shocker of a result and just showed that really out of 2,500 schools, most of them don't want a bar of this David Seymour charter school thing. And Seymour, who here looks very rough, appeared on Q&A and had the weak excuse that this was all just because people aren't used to the concept of charter schools, which certainly didn't wash. In other news around the world, Trump's lashed out at Putin, who he's saying may be tapping him along about peace, that he doesn't really believe this now because Russia's been bombing Kiev and killing civilians, and it's kind of becoming untenable for Trump. Trump questions Putin's desire for peace. After meeting Zelensky at the Vatican, Donald Trump has questioned Vladimir Putin's willingness to end the war in Ukraine following his meetings with the country's leader, Volodymyr Zelensky, on the sidelines of Pope Francis's funeral. Zelensky, on the other hand, said that the conversation he had with Trump could be historic, and we're seeing photos of Trump kind of joining in with people like Sir Keir Starmer Zelensky and Emmanuel Macron here in this photo, which just shows Christopher Luxon's not the only person that's gripping shoulders. But let's hope that something definite can come out of the woodwork soon, and we stop chopping and changing and living in such uncertainty with Trump mucking everybody around. Lawrence Wong, Prime Minister of Singapore, has had some very, very strong words about what's been going on with the rules-based order and how post the Cold War, the benefits of the United States kind of running everything as a world policeman are over, and the United States is withdrawing, which is drawing the world into a kind of a more multi-point dog-eat-dog competition-based environment where people are clustering around China or the United States. Lawrence Wong said that the United States and China claim they do not wish to force countries to choose sides, but in reality, each seeks to draw others into its own orbit, said Prime Minister Lawrence Wong. Their rivalry is already reshaping the world and will define geopolitics for years to come, he told an audience of about 900 at the annual S. Rajaratnam lecture on April the 16th. And so we're in a bit of a dodgy time, which is very uncertain. He also mentioned in a speech he gave that he'd been talking to New Zealand, he'd been talking to Australia, Vietnam, and a few other places as well, and that Singapore as a small island needed to look after itself, but it also was really interested in these larger free trade arrangements like ASEAN and getting ASEAN together and doing a free trade agreement with Europe also, and the CPTPP. These ideas are now actively being worked, and he didn't believe that countries who are small countries should really just be sitting back passively, much like Winston Peters seems to think we should be at the moment. But it's early days, and there should be quite a lot more cooperation, really. I think we're all going to need to continue to cooperate, but at the same time be a little bit more focused on building ourselves up. Anyway, that's all really this morning. I hope you have a lovely, quiet Sunday, listening to the rain on the old tin roof or wherever you are. Stay warm, stay dry, stay safe, and have a wonderful Sunday. Catch you all again soon.